So we finally reached one of the spiciest series of the World Cup, which is Argentina versus Netherlands. And this was probably one of my favorite videos to make. There was a lot of things that a lot of people missed. Too much misinformation being spread by football fans or maybe average viewers, whatever. And for anyone who tells me that the referees were perfect throughout the World Cup, if you watch this game, you'd think otherwise. Let's get right into it. So the first scenario we have in this match is the handball that everyone talks about, where Messi should have had a red or whatever. All I'm gonna say about this play is that it was yellow. The whole red card situation. Obviously, it's not really a good debate because if he had gotten yellow in this scenario, then no one can know if he would have gotten a red. So all I'm strictly saying is it should have been a yellow. There's not even an argument. He goes for the ball with his hand on purpose. That should have been a yellow. Not much discussion here. Now moving on to the next play, which was a bit more controversial, which was the penalty given to Argentina. And like I mentioned to you guys, one of the things I mentioned to you guys to look out for in this match was the criteria that the refs have been using for determining penalties in the World Cup. It's not a good one by any means. As we will see in this play, when we take a look at this replay of Acuna being supposedly fouled in the box, yes, we can all see there's contact. There's no arguing that. But if we're going to use the criteria, remember, this is a sport that has a lot of contact in it. There's bound to be contact any time of the game, any time of the match. The issue comes when deciding whether or not it's a penalty. And in this scenario, we can all agree on that Acuna exaggerates the contact. A hit like that is not going to make you fall to the ground in such a way like he did. And we know that players love doing this. I mean, of course, when you're inside the penalty box, you're going to try to sell any contact possible. I'm already prepared to see that from Argentina because they've been doing that since the first match. And it's a good strategy in the end if the refs fall for it. But, you know, that's not my style of football. He exaggerates the contact. For me, it's not a foul or a penalty. And like I said, let me be clear. There's contact, but for me, it's not enough to make you fall in such a way. And I know people have mixed opinions because there's going to be bias. But if you look at it with honesty, he exaggerates the fall, and that's how he gets a penalty. It's a good strategy in the end. So in this next play, we have probably the easiest call to ever make if you have VAR actually doing their job, which is to retake the penalty. Clearly, in this video, we see that the Argentine player invades the penalty box before Messi kicks the ball. There's nothing much to say here. Messi needs to retake the penalty. And I'm not here to argue whether or not he would have missed it or not. I'm just here to say that he needed to retake it. But another thing to point out again, where is VAR? This is a quarterfinals in the World Cup. Where's VAR? Once we reach knockout stages in the World Cup, VAR needs to be there, especially. But then again, these are the things that football fans ignore in the end. The VAR is supposed to be there and they're not there. The ref has totally made a mess of the match at this point already. And as we're going to see in the next play, it even becomes worse. This next play, I can't understand why the ref did not show a red card to Paredes. Extremely confusing. When we see the first action of the play, he clearly fouls the Dutch player. That should have already been a yellow. But what was extremely surprising for me was that there wasn't a second yellow after he literally shot the ball to the Dutch bench. In what universe is that not a foul and a red card? Knowing that the tensions were high before the game started and the player does that, I'm not hesitating to show a red card. If the Dutch did it to the Argentine bench, there you go, you have a red card.
The ref was giving everything for them. He gave 10 minutes for no reason. 10 minutes. He was giving free kick outside the box for them like 2-3 times. He just wanted them to score that. That's basically it. So hopefully we don't have that ref anymore. He's useless.
In this last clip, I wanted to mention it because nobody really talks about it and many people actually missed it, and for good reason. Because many sports channels didn't show the repetition of the play, which was quite strange. And again, this is another take on VAR. Where's VAR in this situation? Why is this play not being called for? At least clarify it for the people that it wasn't a penalty. I'd be better off knowing that it wasn't a penalty than to never know if it was or it wasn't. This was the only angle that was even possible to get, and it's hard to tell. Now, it could have been a penalty and it couldn't have been. I'm not sure from this angle. But again, where is VAR? This is a quarterfinal.